Hello, Space Junkies, and welcome to What a Piece of Junk episode number 83, our Star Wars Kenobi pre-show spectacular. I am your amiable host, Scott Botman, and joining me on the Drunken Gungan for this show is the second, or perhaps the first co-pilot of What a Piece of Junk, Mr. Derek Marsh. Derek, how's it going out there?
It is my glorious return since it's
Yes, welcome
been a
back.
couple of months.
It
So,
has. The
yeah.
reports of your demise have been slightly exaggerated.
Yeah, well, I just know you guys were keeping me in that frozen carbonite for a while you guys were trying to pile it off the Drunken Gungan for a while. So,
Exactly.
mutiny, but that was all
Yeah.
right. That really wasn't you guys. That was a bunch of scrolls. Oh, wait, sorry. Wrong
Wrong universe.
franchise. So,
Yes. Yeah.
but and how fitting that it's 83 episode and there's my Twitter account,
That's right.
HoodieDM83. So,
It's
makes
almost
sense.
like we planned it.
Yes.
We totally didn't plan it, you guys. We totally didn't plan it.
No, we didn't. It just happened to work out that way. So yeah, just was super busy with work and travel and stuff for both myself and Christina, and then planning to come back. And then unfortunately, the Marsh household got hit with several sinus infections, then got hit with COVID, then got hit with sinus infections again. And then we were going to record for May the 4th review. Would be almost a week and a half ago, and then some things came up, and luckily I was able to do a couple of things with Kyle and the team over there on the True Believers podcast, talk about Moon Knights as well as the Doctor Strange 2 to get myself warmed up, right? Making my grand
Exactly.
back to What a Piece of Junk, my home here. So, but yeah, super glad to be back here with you and the none other.
That's right. My original Wookiee co-pilot, Dave Phil Cloney, man of 1,000 nicknames, and excellent segue for speaking of people that don't plan things. It's Mr. Nathan Miracle. Nathan, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. I've got no plans whatsoever.
Yeah.
Wait.
Except your plan to be here at least.
I was going to say something, but I didn't really have it planned out. Anyway, yeah, good to see you, Derek. Haven't seen you since Egypt when we talked about the 5th episode of Moon Knight on True Believers. But happy to have you back here in the Drunken Gungan because it means that you get to sit in that co-pilot seat instead of me. There may be some fur left over.
It's a little damp over here too, so but
I don't know anything about that. I blame the porgs for that one.
Yeah, blame the porgs. Anyway, speaking of not having plans, this episode we're going to kick off with a little bit of a down note, but maybe not that much of a down note. So, as you heard from our May the 4th Snipset episode, we had a lot of things we were looking forward to and hoping for some big bombshell announcements for Star Wars Day this year. And that kind of didn't materialize. Yeah, turned into less of a tauntaun and more of a mythosaur because
oh wow, I see what you did there.
Thank you very much. Kind of nothing really happened except for the release of the final Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, which, don't get me wrong, very exciting trailer. We're super happy that the Kenobi series is coming. But, guys, we kind of hoped that there'd be some other stuff for Star Wars Day. Because usually Star Wars Day is all about stuff and merchandise. And even that didn't really happen much in the way of big announcements. A few people had things on sale, but they were just existing items that they had already had. I know I didn't buy anything. Of course, I have a good reason. Mita and I are in the process of getting our house packed up to start moving. So anything that I buy these days, I just remind myself, remember, Scott, you're just going to have to find some way to pack this up to prepare for the move. And then I usually talk myself out of buying it because I've got enough to pack already. I mean, if you're watching the video of this, look back here. It's crazy. Nathan, I don't think you bought anything this year on May 4th either, did you?
I did not. I did look at some stuff. I looked at Her Universe. They had some woven tees, which are kind of like Hawaiian shirt style T-shirts that I was interested in, but none that I really just wanted to pull the trigger on. I've got a lot of T-shirts. Most of them are Star Wars anyway, so it would primarily be to have on the T-shirt segment here today.
Yeah.
So I ended up not purchasing anything.
Which is pretty cool, and I love the sound of Star Wars and Hawaiian shirt because those are two of my favorite things. But again, I just don't have space for it right now, and yeah. But now, Derek, you actually did pull the trigger on a few items for Star Wars Day this year, right?
Yes. So, as usual, those that have been following us now for the past few years know that on May the 4th, I typically stock up from tturtle.com on shirts for Star Wars since they run a 50% discount. So, you really can't go wrong when, shirts that have fun Star Wars graphic designs and other stuff too, because they do obviously a lot of different intellectual properties. So, they'll have stuff from like MCU, and they're actually starting to do some Star Trek stuff, which is kind of cool. But they got that, and it's like 50% off. So when it's like $10 to $12 a shirt, I mean it's pretty, and it's good material. I like it. So I actually got one shirt of them. I bought 5 shirts plus one for Christina. So my shirt that I'm revealing today.
Ooh.
Oh, awesome!
Punch it!
Yes,
Han and Chewie on the Falcon.
Yes,
that's good
it
stuff.
Shows them as they're going off into warp speed. So.
That's light speed.
I know. Either way, so
farm boy.
But
anyway,
they're punching it. So, and it's showing them from the cockpit views. So behind them.
That's cool.
Yeah,
man. Inflation is real though. Because you were talking about the price tag on them for Star Wars Day. I remember when you used to talk about getting Star Wars tees for like $5.
So, yeah, I mean, sometimes you'd go to like Kohl's or Target, right? And you'd find them there because they're normally like $10 or $12 anyways. Yeah, and they run those 50% off.
Yep.
So, but I haven't really even seen them do much of anything for that.
Not these days.
Yeah, I mean, like not even Target or Walmart were running anything discounted wise.
Yeah.
I mean, like you were mentioning earlier offline, Scott, like usually Legos make some big announcement and all that. Now, I mean, I did get for my birthday / Christmas present this year, I requested it because it's a little bit of money. I did get the limited edition Star Wars Mos Eisley / Cantina Lego set, which is like 7,500, 8,000 pieces, right? So it's a really
it's a monster to put together.
Yeah, so but it's really cool. So I'll be looking forward to doing that a little bit later this summer. And then I ended up picking up a couple days because it wasn't on sale, but I ended up when we went shopping to Target last weekend, a couple days after May 4th, I picked up the limited edition Lego Dagobah training set where it shows like Yoda's hut, and then it's got like kind of the forest or woods, jungle of Dagobah, and it's got the Luke, R2D2, and Yoda figurines, and it's a nice cool display, and it has like some moving pieces and stuff like that you can do. And I actually looked up some cool stuff on Amazon. People have done some like LED light up sets that can go with it.
Ooh,
so you can light it up. So when you have it in the dark, it kind of looks really neat. So, and that was like $25. So I might end up picking that up or something to add to it as I build that later this summer as well. So, but yeah, overall, not a whole lot. If you go to StarWars.com, I mean, they had some good prices on some things. And then they did have some, the typical thing that's been really for Star Wars Day that they've been doing as well. But typically, like we were saying, they do some type of announcement, but they'll do kind of like those cooking things, like how to make some cool looking treats.
Right.
The big thing I've been seeing, everyone was posting the Jabba Cotto toast with the avocado and hummus design that people are doing on toast. Other than that, there was not a whole lot. I did post just recently here on the Facebook group, so make sure you sign up if you haven't gone to join our Facebook group. What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast, the do-it-yourself kiddos projects, where there's some really cool stuff, things you could print out or things you can build with just like construction paper, some cardboard, some other things that are Star Wars themed, cool little kids science fair project stuff. But yeah, otherwise not a whole lot.
Yeah, you were talking about the Dagobah training Lego set with the movement pieces. Kind of reminds me of years ago, my nephew Daniel and I bought one that was Obi-Wan and Anakin's duel on Mustafar as a Lego set, but the minifigs had these little armatures that you could clip them into, and so you could almost move them and twist them and turn them and make them jump over the lava and stuff, a la, Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yeah, I was going to say Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Yep. So.
Yeah,
and I saw another one too at Kohl's the other day. I was almost tempted to buy. It's the Death Star trench, where they have Luke Skywalker's Red 5 X-wing, and it goes back and forth within the trench.
That's cool.
So
I haven't seen that.
It's kind of cool looking. Yeah, it's kind of like a display looking set. So I was like, if it would have been the 3 X-wings and then Darth Vader's, Black Squadron, I probably would have got it. But it's just the one. I mean, which again is a decent size X-wing, but that to me is more the Death Star trench run than just just the one X-wing. So, but it was still cool.
Yeah. Speaking of Star Wars Legos, though, I do know one thing that was on sale that I probably could have bought but didn't think about it. The Star Wars Lego Skywalker Saga video game had a bunch of DLC stuff on sale for May the 4th because I think it was for things like The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and then some of the more recent stuff. So I'll have to check that out. I bet it's probably still available, just may not be on sale.
Sure, yeah. But to be honest, I haven't even finished the regular game. So
I haven't finished the regular game either because I haven't really had time. But I mean, it's a good game. I enjoy it, as we talked about on our Snipset episode. But I haven't gotten anywhere close to exploring all of the nooks and crannies and stuff that you can do.
well, I got distracted. Chrono Cross had a re-release, and I really loved that game as a kid. So I got distracted by that one, and I've been playing that instead of.
Is that on
Skywalker Saga.
the Wii?
It is on the Switch.
On the Switch, yeah, the Wii, or yeah, Switch. Sorry, Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo.
That's what I meant. That's
Whatever
what I
the-
Switch.
Whatever the current Nintendo is.
So no, I mean that's definitely one of the cool games. So I've been tempted thinking about recently picking up one of the new consoles and just kind of debating, but it's like, yeah, that'd be cool. So that's probably one of the games I'd be interested in getting is the Skywalker Saga. So
It's really good. I like the game. It's not quite the same nostalgia as the original Star Wars Lego games because they've changed the interface somewhat, but it has more depth to it. You can do almost anything you can think of in that game.
well, yeah, I mean, and the fact that they have like some really cool deep cut Easter egg stuff. There's even one where it shows in one of the Ewok villages, you got Eric Walker as Mace Windu and some of the Ewoks with the rest of the family there.
Yep.
That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool. Friend of the show, Eric Walker. We'll have to see if we can get Eric on again after Celebration just to ask him how his celebration went.
Yeah.
Now, there was one piece of news announced recently. It was that some of the lesser-known actors like Eric and some other fellows and actresses from the original extended universe stuff, they're going to be there to sign autographs at Star Wars Celebration this year as well. So you'll have the opportunity to get all kinds of autographs that you may not have really thought about in recent years, or some autographs that you thought you'd never be able to find those actors again. So there you have it.
Yeah, that's cool. So hopefully Terry will have a good time there. Don't forget, folks that are going to be out there, look for Terry. She's got sticker badges or whatever, the patches for What a Piece of Junk stuff.
And a few magnets, right, Nathan? Did she make magnets?
Yes. Yes, she did.
Cool. And then obviously
I may have put some of those on my fridge.
And then one of the co-founders for FP and Kevin Reitzel will be there as well. So you guys can always look for Kevin and the team out there. So hopefully those will have a good time. And we'll obviously have to bring all them on here after Star Wars Celebration to get their thoughts and feedback. And like we said, hopefully a couple of them might be able to give us some fun bumpers that we'll be able to add to the show.
Yeah. And don't forget, guys, we are going to do a live show reacting to the first episode of Kenobi. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. We're doing 2 of them?
Remember, it's the first 2 episodes.
Yes. Excuse me. Yes, the first 2 episodes. Sorry, I thought you meant we were recording 2 shows, and I'm like, we are? I got to file for overtime.
No, we'll be doing it that Sunday, so we'll be posting an event here pretty soon.
Overtime. You're getting paid for this? No.
I mean, what?
On the
No,
29th.
no.
So
Yes, May the 29th. Yes.
Yes.
Cool,
now
cool,
we will
cool.
have seen the episodes before we do that live watch along.
couldn't wait 48 hours.
We do recommend that you guys watch the episodes as well, and then watch them again with us because we'll be talking over certain points.
Join us in the chat room.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out how to do that in StreamYard because I think the last time we did a live watch along, we weren't yet.
Kyle might join us again. So
good. I can just turn over the producer control stick to him and be like,
I think
"My
Kyle wants to
producer,
join us
yes,
so he
you,
can talk
sir."
a bit about it. So since like I said, his partner in crime, Kevin's still been hanging out with his new wife, Erin, and then like I said, he's going to Star Wars Celebration. So I don't think Kevin's really been doing too much podcasting till really coming back until June. So, but like I said, we'll have to get him, Terry on, talk about Star Wars Celebration. And then, like I said, it'll be a lot to upkeep over the next several weeks once we get Obi-Wan. But hopefully, like I said, we didn't get a whole lot of stuff. I mean, we also did, which we'll probably end up having to do a side show for just to do like we typically do with the behind the scenes, because they did release the Disney gallery for Star Wars, the Book of Boba Fett. I don't know if either of you guys watched that yet. I haven't gotten it.
I haven't.
I watched
seen
a
it yet.
portion of it, but I haven't finished it.
Yeah. So I got a few snippets though, because obviously Robert Rodriguez posted a few things. With the continuation, he got Baby Grogu or Baby Yoda a guitar, and that was pretty fun when he was having him play the guitar with him. So, but I look forward to watching that. Just like I said, haven't had time and catching up with some other shows. So.
Yeah, everybody still likes to refer to that character as Baby Yoda. I think at some points, even characters in universe think his name Grogu is weird. I love that scene where Pelimato is talking to him, and he's getting out of the X-wing that R2D2 flew him to Tatooine in, and she goes, "Grogu? Well, that's unfortunate." That was so funny to me.
It was so meta.
Yeah. So she was all, "Hi, Bright Eyes," and he's all, "Brr, brr, brr." She goes, "Grogu? Well, that's unfortunate. I'm not calling you that." Anyway, good times.
So.
Well, speaking of Disney Plus Star Wars stuff, we did get a new and perhaps the officially final trailer for Kenobi as part of the May the 4th celebration. So, guys, let's break it down. Our reactions to the final trailer. I did just watch it twice again in preparation for today's episode. So, Nathan, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts about the final trailer? Learned anything new? Anything surprise you?
Not too much, to be honest. These days we've got teasers for the trailers that are previews for the show, and we kind of knew a lot of what was going on even by the time we saw this trailer. So I didn't get too much new out of it. I think my favorite thing that I've gotten out of it is all of the memes with Owen, with the whole like you trained your brother, but changing it to all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So
like you trained his father. I like him leaning on the metal in all the memes. Even when in that scene there, wherever he's been inserted, there is no metal. He just carries that metal bar around with him so that when he gets ready to unleash the burn, he just lays it up there and goes, "Oh, you mean like you helped Qui-Gon defeat Darth Maul?"
Yeah.
I think my favorite ones are the ones that are various Star Wars callbacks, but I've seen Owen memes where he's burning people in completely unrelated to Star Wars stuff.
Yes, yeah.
But is it ironic that he's burning them when he ends up being the one burnt at the end?
Yeah.
See, if my meme skills were better, I would do one where he's talking to older version of him, where the older version of him is all, "I'm going to roast Obi-Wan." And he says, "Like you roasted yourself,"
or like the
follow it up
with
him with his skeleton burning on Lars Moisture.
He was the OG roaster.
Yes, he was. Just not in the way that he wanted to be.
Oh, the best reaction I've seen to that meme is people being like, "Wow, Owen is straight fire in this new meme," and then people replies, "He always has been." He's the original straight fire.
He's smoking.
Smoking. Thank you, Jim Carrey.
So Owen has definitely won the trailer. I don't know what he gets for winning the trailer, but he won.
So obviously my favorite part of the trailer is that Owen burn, because as one of our friends, Nathan, posted online, he audibly said the word "oof" when that scene happened in the trailer. He didn't just react with an oof. He actually said it out loud while he was watching it on his phone. Oof. So very much the Owen burn is the best part. But I also really liked the little teaser tidbit of them assembling Vader. So like the scene where Vader's arm goes on and the pack on his side and the chest panel, it lights up, and then you hear that breath. And Ewan McGregor makes such a great face in that scene that they put there where he just is like, "Oh no." Because he realizes that Anakin did not die, and so now it's even worse than he ever thought it could be.
And it'll be interesting to find out just how much he knows about Anakin versus Vader. Does he really know that Anakin survived and became Vader? Does he think they're two different people? And does he learn that over the course of the series? But you know what? We'll talk about that a little bit later this episode, because we'll have all of our predictions as well. In the meantime, Derek, what did you like about the trailer?
There was some really cool snippets. The first one was throughout the whole trailer theme, kind of the vibe you're getting is that it feels like maybe it might be a little bit more thriller spy chase type deal movie or series, because obviously Obi-Wan is trying to conceal himself being a Jedi, right? And that he's still being hunted down Obviously, at this time, you see, obviously we knew the Inquisitors were coming, but you're getting a bit more FaceTime with the Inquisitors, specifically with what's the young actress that's kind of the big one, Moses Ingram as Inquisitor Reva. So you kind of seen a bit more of her character in this one. And she's kind of being a bit more vocal, angry. You actually get to see Kamal Nagianas, who played Kingo in Eternals, right? His Jedi character, which you get to see two kind of snippets in it, right? Where you show him like hiding in the dark, like he's sweating. And then you actually see him like where he is rolling out between tables, and then Inquisitor Reva stops him, right, with her lightsaber drawn. So, I'll talk a bit more about my thoughts and predictions on that in the second portion of this, but you get to see that. And then the biggest thing that you get, like I said, is kind of the chase scenes, a bit of action, right? But again, no point any time do you get to see Obi-Wan draw his lightsaber, right? So you actually see him using, potentially, at least looks like he's using a blaster, right? You get to see Forloom, right, on the top of the building scene, right? So that looks pretty cool. So just overall, I like the tone. And obviously, we'll talk about it, like I said, with our predictions here a little bit. But I just overall was super excited. Thought it was pretty good. Leading up to it, again, sometimes you have to be careful with trailers, right? Because with it only being 6 episodes, they might reveal too much, right? But overall, like I said, I was super excited. So can't wait till May 27th.
And certainly there's a chance, like with some contemporary films, that they put something in the trailer that doesn't make it into the final cut. However, with the series, I feel like there's less of a chance of that. So I feel like there's a greater chance that we will see all of these scenes somewhere in one of the episodes of Kenobi.
In fact, I think we're going to see most of these scenes in the first episode of Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that prediction because there's a couple things that I think that they'll have as big reveals. So,
yeah, I think that'll be awesome. But I enjoyed this trailer; it got me hyped. It's hard for me to be any more hyped than I was just by the idea of this show. But yeah, I'm excited for. Gosh, it's only a couple of weeks from the date of this recording because we are recording this on May the 15th. So yeah, we hope you all can join us for our live shows. And of course, you'll be joining us hopefully each week as we do new episodes of the podcast to break down the episode of Kenobi. But for now, let's take a short break so that Kevin can tell us about all of the other shows here on the FPN.
Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. We'd like to continue to feed your ears by inviting you to listen to these other great shows on the Fandom Podcast Network. It starts with our flagship show, Culture Clash, discussing the latest in entertainment pop culture. Bloody Kings, Immortals Take Notice, our show covering the entire Highlander universe. Couch Potato Theaters, where we celebrate our favorite movies. Time Warp, the Fandom Flashback podcast discussing a year in movies and our favorite retro movie and TV pop culture topics. Good Evening, discussing all things Alfred Hitchcock. Union Federation, our Star Trek and Orville show. Hair Metal, the 80s and early 90s rock metal podcast. Type 40, our show covering the time-traveling Doctor Who universe with host Dan Hadley. Lethal Mullet, an 80s and 90s action film podcast with host Adam P. O'Brien. Also check out the Lethal Mullet Network for more great podcasts. What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast with hosts Scott, Derek, and Nathan. Making Treks, a Star Trek podcast, a deep dive into the final frontier with host Mark Newbold and Adam P. O'Brien. And check out our newest shows, The Fandom Show, our monthly Fandom Podcast Network live YouTube exclusive show about the month's hottest topics in fandom, and the FPN True Believers MCU podcast, discussing the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the related Marvel television and streaming MCU universe, including the connections to the original Marvel comics. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on several platforms. Please subscribe to the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel to receive notifications of new podcast episodes and live events. You can enjoy all of the Fandom Podcast Network audio podcasts on our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. The Fandom Podcast Network is on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast and iTunes. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on Facebook. You can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also find the Fandom Podcast Network on Instagram at Fandom Podcast Network and on Twitter at FanPod Network. Thank you for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
All right, cool. Thank you very much, Kevin. We hope that you guys can find plenty other shows on the FPN that you can enjoy. So, guys, let's talk about our predictions for what we think is going to happen in the Kenobi series. I'll start this time instead of throwing the ball off like I sometimes do. I think my biggest and the one prediction I'm hoping for the most. Now, if it doesn't happen, it's not like it's going to ruin the show for me or anything crazy like that. But I want to see somehow either Obi-Wan makes it to the Death Star while it's under construction, or he finds a copy of the Death Star plans, some Imperial computer or something like that, so that it will help sort of explain how in A New Hope, when they arrive on the Death Star, Obi-Wan basically tells them, I'm going to go shut down the tractor beam. You guys go rescue the princess. And he knows right where to go to turn off the tractor beam. Like, there isn't...
No, but R2-D2 goes and shows him in the map when he goes into the computer. Yeah, he does.
He finds the princess.
But he also goes into the comlink and it shows the schematics and it shows the way the energy thing is, and he shows where it's like, got to go here, and he's like, okay, I don't think you guys are, whatever, I'll go do this alone or whatever. So he shows it to him.
Well, darn, I'll have to go back and watch A New Hope.
I've only acquired this, like I said, because remember, Sophia has been watching quite a bit of A New Hope, so we finally branched into Empire Strikes Back before she got bored after 45 minutes. But I did start showing her that. So,
well, that's good to hear. Okay, well, yes, like Nathan. Oh no, I'll have to watch A New Hope again. But yeah, it would still be, for me, it would help a little. With him having more familiarity with the space station, because he knows immediately that it's a space station when they see it from outside, etc., etc. I still think there's a chance that if he doesn't go to the under construction Death Star, he at least sees that that's what they're planning to build somehow. Like a holographic readout in the background or something like that. Could be nothing. Could be no reference to the Death Star whatsoever. But I'd be really surprised to have Obi-Wan and Vader and all these other original trilogy elements in the show, and definitely setting it at that moment in time in the Star Wars galaxy, and have no visual cues or at least a mention of the Death Star. So that's my prediction, is that he'll somehow acquire that knowledge, whether it be in person or just in the background somewhere. I'm trying to think if there's any other major predictions I want to say. Derek, we'll go over to you. What predictions do you have?
Well, I don't think it's going to be Obi-Wan doing that, just because I think the way they Alec Guinness did it in his rendition when he was saying, that's no moon, that's a space station. I think the way his face is, like, he wasn't expecting that. Like, when he realizes it, what I think would happen, though, is at the end of the series is that we'll get, again, the link to somehow Bail Organa and a young Princess Leia. Because they announced they casted a Princess Leia character as well. I can't remember the young actress's name. So I think that'll be the link somehow. Whether that is for the Death Star or whether that is for something that Bail Organa needs to reach out to Obi-Wan for. I think
maybe so.
What that is.
And you're right. It could be that when they're approaching the Death Star in A New Hope, maybe just the Force helps him to realize that faster than the other characters, and it's just more like a dread dawning on his face of, oh my god.
Yeah. So that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I could see it being, oh my goodness, I've seen the skeletal structure of this before, and now they finished it. So that's how I know it's a space station. Yeah. I've seen it under construction.
Yeah, or a hologram of it, as they had the plans.
Like they did in Genosha.
We know that they had at least the skeleton of it all the way back in Revenge of the Sith at the very end. So.
Yeah.
No, and you guys are absolutely right, because I mean, we got to think, because we see Luke Skywalker in the trailer, which he's got to be 8 or 10 years old. So we know that this is still 8 to 10 years before A New Hope. So there's obviously a lot of time for them to finish building the actual Death Star. But to your, there's very well that, they've been laying the groundwork since Attack of the Clones with the Death Star. So very well that, So no, that my predictions, a couple things. I think Kamal Nagiana will actually be, because that's supposed to be Obi-Wan's friend, his character, his Jedi. So I think it's going to be him visiting Obi-Wan, and then that's where the Sith Inquisitors come down and they kill him off as they're hunting for him. So, and Obi-Wan will witness it or something in town. So I think that'll be the first episode to get us to be like, oh, these are like legit like Sith or Jedi hunters, right? Because they're like, everybody's Jedis are the most powerful beings, right?
Right.
So I think that'll be the one prediction. I think they will have the seventh sister. I think she will appear. I think she was either in that group when they showed the 3 Inquisitors with the Grand Inquisitor and the other 2, but they've obviously took her out, right? So that you don't get to see her. But I think that they'll have that. And I think Sarah Michelle Gellar will actually reprise the character this time in live action. So that's my prediction for that. That we were talking about, right? That they show us stuff, but then it's not always the same thing.
Right.
And then the end piece would be that I don't think Obi-Wan and Vader will actually see each other. I think it's all going to be Force sensitive stuff, but I could still see it being what we talked about before, where they do have a meeting at some point, and that was where the whole Darth Vader phrase "you shouldn't have come back" will come from. Like, this is actually the meeting that they're talking about that they did, that Obi-Wan will somehow escape barely alive, right? But the thing is that it's hard for me to think that, because then like he just goes back to Tatooine. So like, why wouldn't Darth Vader go back to Tatooine then, right? To find him.
Yeah.
Unless if it's this time Vader thinks that Obi-Wan's dead, right?
That could be it. Or also it's, Vader hates sand. So
yes,
he's not gonna,
that's
he's
true.
not gonna go.
Well, that's where he should know to look, though, because he should know that's where Obi-Wan's going to hide out. Where
Obi-Wan's hiding in the sand because he's like, Anakin will never come here. He hates sand.
Anyways, those are my 3 major predictions in regards to what I think will be the spoiler or the stinger at the end, to relate it somehow to tying in Bail Organa and a young Princess Leia. Like I said, that they will have a 7th sister. I guess I talked about what I thought with the first one with Kamal's character, but then like I said, also with the Obi-Wan / Vader meeting of some sort. But like I said, I think it'll be more Force sensitive talking, but we'll see.
I love your prediction that Obi-Wan and Vader won't actually meet and clash lightsabers. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll have to see how it plays out for him, because Kathleen Kennedy and Ewan McGregor have sort of teased the rematch of the century, as it were, with Obi-Wan versus Vader again. Kathleen Kennedy actually used those words about the rematch we've all been waiting for. And then Ewan McGregor had this great interview where he talked about being on set with Darth Vader, freaked him out, right? Now, granted, they could be on set together, but not be in a scene together. That's totally true. Or, like you said, could be Force Vision stuff. And maybe Kathleen Kennedy is just being, filled with hyperbole like she likes to do. But I expect there will be an actual lightsaber fight, and they'll actually have their quote-unquote rematch. Nathan, what are your predictions?
All right. Well, Derek has predicted that they won't see each other face to face. You've predicted that they're going to have a lightsaber rematch. I guess that means I have to predict that they will see each other face to face, but no lightsaber rematch. That way, one of us will be right.
In a rap battle.
So just covering the bases. Somebody on this podcast will have predicted it right, and then we'll play the clip of whoever predicted it right over and over and over again, so we can say, see what geniuses we are.
Totally correct. Totally correct.
So, for my actual predictions, I think that the trailer shows us primarily things that happen in the first 1 or 2 episodes, and that it is the character you mentioned running away from Inquisitors, and perhaps he's got some information that there's a Jedi, not necessarily Kenobi, but a Jedi on Tatooine.
Or he has the Death Star plans.
Could be. But the fact that he knows that there's a Jedi on Tatooine and is trying to get to Tatooine is going to be what leads the Inquisitors to Tatooine. So I don't think that Kenobi and that particular Jedi will necessarily see each other face to face. They may have a holo call of saying, "Hey, yeah, come to Tatooine. We'll go in hiding together," and that's how they track down Kenobi in the first place to have this series. But that most of what we see off planet is actually not Kenobi there. I do think that we will see Zuckuss. because we saw Forlom or Forlom, however you want to pronounce it. I always think of it as Forlom because I think of it as For the Love of Money, which is a really, really old joke from the collectible card game. On the original Forlom character, on his knuckles, he had the number 4, a heart, the word of, and a dollar sign. So for the love
Awesome
of money.
sauce. Easter eggs for the win.
So I'm hoping that Zuckuss shows up as well because they've always been associated with each other, at least in the expanded universe. I would like for that association to continue on into the new Disney era.
I believe there
I just
have
want
been.
to see Zuckuss.
Yeah. Me too. I like Zuckuss. I think he's a cool character. I believe there have been some storyline elements of the two of them work together in the current Star Wars Marvel comics. So I think that's been, re-established or reinforced as an idea in the current canon, I think.
Now, what will be really interesting is in the expanded universe, Zuckuss was a mist hunter. He used visions that he unknowingly got through the Force to help him find bounties. So I'm hoping that they keep that aspect of him. And he's not an official Inquisitor, but he's kind of doing an Inquisitor type thing of sensing this Jedi. And that's part of the reason why he and Forlom go after Jedi, because he can sense them while other bounty hunters can't.
Yeah, and he had the title of a Gond Findsman in the old EU as a member of the Gond species, and Findsman was like their version of bounty hunter, but sometimes just straight up hunter or seeker, to go find something. That'd be cool, and I'd love to see that tradition continue in live action. Is Forlom and Zuckuss working together? Maybe even reach a point like we did in some of the old stories from the EU, the legend stuff now, where Zuckuss kind of comes to terms with Obi-Wan might not be the bad guy, or whoever it is he's chasing might not be the bad guy, and he sort of just kind of finds his own balance within the Force, if you will.
And that could be a really cool resolution if he determines, hey, Obi-Wan's not a bad guy here. I'm going to go tell Vader and crew, oh yeah, I killed him. I'm going to collect the wanted dead or alive money with dead. Here's my proof that I fabricate somehow. And that's the reason the Inquisitors and Vader stop looking for Kenobi. They think he's dead.
Ooh.
Yeah, but then why would he show up in Empire Strikes Back if Vader knows that he lied to him because he sees him in A New Hope? So he would know he would have lied to him, be like, "Oh, I killed Obi-Wan," but then yet Obi-Wan shows up 10 years later on the Death Star, so he knows Zuckuss lied.
I killed a Jedi. It wasn't Obi-Wan. It was insert Jedi over here.
Or alternatively, we lean back into that whole the Empire is totally xenophobic, and Vader and them are like, oh, it's just some Gand, and they don't realize it's the same Gand because all Gand look alike to them. It's one of those bug guys, one of those insect guys.
So, anyways, yeah, I definitely think that Zuckuss and maybe even get some Dengar.
That'd be cool. Now, if we do get Dengar, do we want to go on record to predict that Simon Pegg will be portraying him?
Yes.
Nathan says yes.
I would go with that too.
I was going to say, you can say no.
We don't want to do too much Doctor Strange spoilers, but we did get that in the Doctor Strange too, right? So fan service and stuff like that does play. So if Kathleen Kennedy's learned it, well, if anything, if Favreau and Filoni and Deborah Chow know anything, then those little Easter eggs make fans happy. So,
and to be quite honest, Simon Pegg is the type of guy who would absolutely go on with no credit beforehand, just listed in the episode credits, and not have said a word about it.
No.
I did it. Speaking of Doctor Strange, spoilers, I guess, for whoever's listening to this still in the month of May. I didn't realize that Anson Mount got to be Black Bolt again until I watched the credits. Because
you didn't realize that was him?
No, because I
didn't
recognize him. Yeah, but I was glad because he played Black Bolt the first time around on the Inhumans, so that was pretty cool.
Anyways, yeah. So good stuff. But yeah, like I said, that'd be cool. I think we should get some fun Easter eggs because I don't know, to be honest, when we'll get a chance to revisit this particular era, right? I mean, we'll get some with Cassie and Andor, so there's a chance that some of that may pop up too.
Yeah.
because that's just going to be, actually kind of the same timeline. Obviously, depending on where, what age that we get like some backstory with him before it gets into Prime, Diego, Luna, and K2 SO timeline with Tudyk. But who knows?
I
But,
think we might end up seeing some K2 droids walking around in Kenobi.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
even just
definitely.
doing stuff in the background.
Yeah, I would be more surprised if we didn't see them. In fact, I think we did see some in the trailer.
Didn't we get like a Terminator 2 Judgment Day version of
Yeah,
them?
you're right. You're right. We did. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're totally going to see those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to think if it was that for that.
I mean,
or
my
if it
prediction
was...
is we'll see even more of them.
It'd be longer than 2 seconds. So, but so, and then whether or not we'll get any, obviously we get an IG-88 and get a Taika Waititi credit roll for the voice, right, of IG-88. So we'll see there. But yeah, so I mean, definitely a lot of stuff. I mean, again, it's only 6 episodes, right? So they got to cram a lot of stuff in there, and I'm not sure who. We see it in the trailer, Obi-Wan doing some hand-to-hand combat and like this hallway or prison entrance, like blue light type deal.
Yeah.
I can't really make out. It doesn't look like anybody that is other than maybe some Imperial guards or something, or some just normal henchmen of some sort. Like maybe he's trying to stow away on a ship is what I'm thinking that scene might be.
Right.
But yeah, I don't anticipate too much. And other than that, we get a few, obviously, Inquisitor shots, some Imperial shots. There's a couple of, people that have been credited on a couple of, Imperial people, right? With some pictures and stuff of them on IMDb right now. So, but yeah, no, just really super excited. So can't wait. We got less than 2 weeks for the premiere. So
yeah, my other last minute prediction is young Luke is up there pretending to be a pod racer, not a starship pilot. That's my prediction. I feel like
that's a good prediction.
Yeah, he's got all the telltale signs of wanting to do it. And we may even get an Aunt Beru scene of her going, "Oh, I hate those races. They're awful."
I was going to say, do you think we'll see any actual, because that's what I'm hoping, because that's one of the things that I did really like about the Book of Boba Fett was just all those little details about Mos Espa, right? And just Tatooine, right? You see those things going on where they were just showing people at the docking bays, right? With those ships coming in, and whether it was the Pike's Landing or somebody going off, or it was the Mando coming in, those little things where it helps expand the universe. I'm just curious to see if we're going to get stuff like that, or if it's literally just going to be because they're not in a time crunch, right? In Mando / Book of Boba, right? To be able to do that stuff. Here, you got 6 episodes, cram it all in because there's not going to be a season 2.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I think there will be a little bit of that. I could see maybe in the same scene where we see Luke, pretending to be a pod racer pilot, that we see pod racers go flying by, way off in the distance, because all his life he looked away to the future, to the horizon, where the pod racers are, way over there.
Way over there.
Never what he was doing, where he was.
Yeah.
But that won't be a focus because, like you said, this is the Kenobi show. We've only got 6 episodes, and obviously a good bit of it's taken up by this off-world stuff. And we know
Obi-Wan
that we're on
himself.
Tatooine in every episode. So
Right. Cool. Okay, great. Well, obviously, if y'all have any predictions for the Kenobi show, if you want to let us know ahead of time, please contact us on our social media feeds. Mr. Derek here runs our Facebook group, which you can find at What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast on Facebook. And I run our Twitter account, which is at What Wars, or you can feel free to email me at whatapieceofjunkpod@gmail.com. And on Instagram, you can find us under the Fandom Podcast Network. Nathan, would you please tell people where they can find the podcast online?
Oh, you can find the podcast online pretty much anywhere you find podcast. So it would be Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Google Play.
Yep, absolutely. And Derek, what about those Apple Podcast reviews?
Well, any review, we need to make sure that we're getting those 5-star reviews. Again, we'll take whatever you feel generous. If, 1 week you want to rate us a 4 and the next week a 3 and then put us back on a 5 because we did something right, but just giving us that feedback so we know what to work on or what type of content and things you want to hear. Again, we try to stay current with what's out there in the Star Wars media, especially with the streaming shows. And then if we ever get a movie again, but definitely with upcoming shows with Obi-Wan, like we talked about, as well as the Bad Batch season 2 that should be coming out later, as well as Cassian Andor, all the good stuff that we're looking forward to in 2022. But let us know, and with those reviews, because otherwise, I'm going to be going back into that carbonite chamber, and I really don't want to.
Yes, and
Yeah, trust me, it's a mess to reset, so I don't want to have to put them back in there either.
And if you guys want to reach out to us between shows on social media, Nathan, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook under my real name, Nathan Miracle. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at gooeychewy, GOOEYCHEWIE. Derek, where can people find you?
You can find me right there at the Hoodie DM83 for Twitter, as well as Facebook. You can find me under my real name, Derek Marsh. And like as Scott mentioned, you can find me on running the What a Piece of Junk Star Wars podcast Facebook group, where you can find all of us and all the cool stuff and all the announcements that we'll make and, some of the things. But then, Scott, where can the listeners find you?
I am on Twitter at ScotticusMax. I'm on Facebook under my real name, Scott Baltman, and I do write my own science fiction novels, and you can find my author website at writegreatscott.com. But until next time, we would like to thank all of you for joining us, and always remember to please respect each other, and please respect each other's fandom. All right, Nathan, punch it.